Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Marketing in a Pandemic webinar. Thanks to Whittlesea City Council. I'm very excited to be doing this for you guys out there, especially in this time where things are pretty hard at the moment for some. Their businesses are suffering. Some won't make it through. Others are doing extremely well. But from my perspective, I want to be talking to you today about how to market in a pandemic and just in a crisis in general. There are so many things you can actually do in this time, but because it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for businesses to pivot. It's a business for opportunity. It's a lot of opportunities for business to change the way they do things, the way they see things, and also the way they interact with their clients and also each other and the market in general. So, for example, alcohol companies are creating sanitizers. Bricks and mortar businesses are going online, and a whole bunch of different scenarios that people are actually taking advantage of. There are a few things I'm going to be covering today. Marketing during a crisis, the 5 essential tips that you need to get your marketing moving in today's climate. So the 5 essential things that I would be doing right now to make sure that your business is up and running and doing the best it possibly can during this time to communicate effectively with the market and possibly grow. I'm also going to be talking about the importance of storytelling, mission, vision, how that actually correlates back to your marketing and your storytelling and the importance of a vision and mission, and also the steps needed to actually create one if you don't have one, but also to actually revisit your mission and vision if you do have one. I'll be talking about the importance of good design. This is one of those things where people really appreciate and they underestimate the importance of using very, very good design, very good designers, and how that correlates back to the success of all your marketing initiatives. Social media. Which social media do you use? What platforms do you use? One, do you use two? How do you identify the platforms and the differences between those different platforms? I want to talk to you a lot about that and some of the things you need to do to understand your audience and understand where you fit in the whole scheme of things. I'm going to be talking about co-branding and co-marketing. It's a really good thing to be looking at, especially during this time. How can you work with other businesses? How can you co-market and co-brand, spread the cost, but also generate some really good value propositions for your clients and for each other? So we'll just dive straight into it. You would have had your workbooks to download. That's something you can work on in your own time, or you can work along during my talk here. And it's designed to actually give you an express type view. We've only got 45 minutes and some time for questions, so there's lots of things that we can actually cover. But I really just wanted to cover the most important ones that you can take away and apply to your businesses today. You can do these by yourself. And really create a base that you can work with straight up. And you feel empowered that you're actually doing something in this time. So the first module I want to talk about is the 5 things you should be doing during your pandemic. Okay, these are the very top 5 things that I would be recommending that you look at within your business straight away to make sure that you're in a very good place as far as combating some of the issues that we have being thrown at business right at this particular time, especially with small local business in the area. It's a lot harder for small business to actually try and find new ways of doing things because of fear, trying to keep as much cash flow as you can. So these are the 5 really easy things and probably the most basic things they should be doing consistently anyway, but especially now. So the number 1 thing is update your message and position. Okay. Find out what the current state of play is. What's happening in your local area with business? What are people feeling? Change and adapt your business to actually work within those current needs. Find out what your customers are feeling. Find out why they're not buying. Find out exactly how you can actually create a real solution and a real offer for these people to actually feel as if they're being taken care of. So pivot, change the way you do business. Look at your products and services. Can you adapt them? Can you change them to make them a lot more reliable, a lot more valuable, and a lot more sustainable during this time? Create a way to be different. There's no way you can actually keep doing what you're doing as you were before the pandemic. People have changed. Situations have changed. People are fearful. They're looking for something different. And it's your opportunity as a business to look at yourself internally and say, okay, well, what do I sell? How do I sell it? Can I change it? Can I add new products? What can I actually do to make sure that I can cater for what's happening? But the first key is really find out what's going on there. Ask some questions, do some research as to what is happening within your community and your market. The second big thing, and this is a big one for me, is don't exploit the situation. There's a real difference between being commercially astute and looking at different ways of doing things to adapt. But then on the other side is to actually take advantage and exploit what people are going through at this present time. It's very easy to do that because everyone's vulnerable, everyone's fearful. So as a business, you can exploit the situation. Don't do that. Don't exploit the situation. Be ethical in the way you do things. It just makes really good commercial sense to care. It really does. So from your communications point of view, be authentic, have some empathy, and start building real trust with your clients and your potential clients, and also some of the businesses that you can be working with in the future. It's really important to not be an opportunist during this present time. Position yourself as a business of influence and information. Now, what that actually means is you can be an authority in your space. So position yourself that way. Provide information to the market. Support your audience. If you can do it for free, then do so. Write some blogs, write some articles, connect with your marketing, and be the leaders as far as business. As business, we have an opportunity to influence people, to be of real value, and to give people that sense of belonging. And that's what a brand is, a sense of belonging, a sense of community. So be that business. Look at your customer base. Reach out to them in a way you've never done before. Offer something that is potentially free of charge and has no strings attached. That builds trust. That builds rapport. Very, very important to actually do that in this day and age, especially in a small community-based business sector. Which makes people a little bit nervous is tell people where you're at. Tell your customers where you are at as a business. Share your struggle, your trials, your tribulations, what this whole thing means to you and your business. I just dropped all my notes. Be authentic in that. Don't be afraid to actually tell people what's going on with your business, how you've needed to change things, and be vulnerable. You can be a leader and still be vulnerable. Show people exactly that you're the same. Your business is exactly the same as everybody else's. You are not immune to what's happening. Okay, and share what you're doing. It's really important so they can actually do it as well. If you have something in your business that you've changed and it's working, share it. Give them the opportunity to actually learn from that and apply it to their business. Can actually create some strength and some empowerment in those people, and that creates rapport with you, in which over time means that transactions will come. It also shows understanding and empathy. Understanding is, during a time like this, your customers want to be understood. They want to be shown some empathy. They want to be shown as that you're there to support them, even if they're not spending as much money or any money with you. Because when things recoup, that's always at top of mind. So forward think. So at the moment, what you should be doing is thinking about, what am I going to be looking like after this is all said and done? What will my customers think of me based on the actions that I take now? So really be transparent with where you are as a business and really show some empathy and share your struggles. but also share exactly what you're doing to overcome those as well and build that trust. The other, number 5, is be where you get the attention, okay? What that means is consistently use the right digital platforms consistently. Write some blogs, write some articles, get uncomfortable. If it's those kind of things that you haven't done in the past, start doing them. It doesn't matter whether they're good or whether they're not. It's just content. Put content out there and be consistent. Do a webinar. If the information's good, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. It doesn't matter if the lighting is, as long as the actual information is genuine and authentic and is actually helping, put it out there. Be consistent. Be where the attention is. Make sure you're always in front of people. Make sure you're always in front of your audience at whatever capacity, consistently. Okay? Isolation means more screen time. People aren't going out. They're sitting at home on their phones, on their smartphones, whatever it is they're doing. Be there. Okay? If you're consistently putting in time and effort to create engaging content, to create content that is shareable, that has meaning and relevance, people will see it. You will be at top of mind when things start to iron out over time. It's going to be a long time before things get back to normal, if they ever get back to whatever normality was. So you need to be in a position where you have always been there during this whole thing, showing support and providing content that makes them feel good, gives them what they need from a support perspective, but also from an empathy perspective, and also entertainment as well. So everything they need, just be where you get the attention. Okay? And be fresh and be present. Don't just put content up to sell things. Don't regurgitate things. Just be your authentic self. There is no reason why, for example, I would be doing what I'm doing right now and just regurgitating someone else's content and the way they do things. This webinar is about community. It's about a need. So I'm delivering it in an authentic way that I see is right. And it's about putting myself forward and my organisation forward as honestly as we possibly can. And that's what you should be doing as well, because it adds immense value. So update your message and positioning. Don't exploit the situation. It's just wrong. Be a business of influence and information. Share it freely. And be honest with your customers. Tell them where they're at. Tell them where you're at. Share your struggles. And number 5, be where you get the attention. Okay? So there are 5 things you should be doing straight away. You can do that today. These are things that you can actually apply. You don't need a massive budget. You just need some patience and some persistence, and you can actually apply these 5 things today. Okay. Module 2, section 2. The other thing I want to talk about is setting a new tone. Okay. Things aren't the way they were. Things are very different. Now, the way people respond to businesses, the way people are responding to the pandemic, the way people are responding to a lot of things has changed. You can't be doing the same things you were doing as a business before this started. Okay. You have to set a new tone for yourself. And right now is the perfect time to revisit your business positioning. Where do you sit in the market? What kind of business do you want to be? Okay. Don't do the same things as you were doing. Okay. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do as a business? So revisit that. What it was 3 months ago is not today. Does that mean that your business is probably moving in a different direction? Are you looking at possibly re-looking at the way you trade as a business or the way you behave as a business? Where do you want to go? Where has this pandemic forced you to look at going? And it's probably somewhere that is going to be a place where you wanted to go anyway. It's just forced your hand. But really take this time, the downturn, and this time to sit back and look at your business and really evaluate where you want to go and how you want to do it. It's massively important for the future, and it's massively important for really getting some traction after this whole thing is actually said and done. Okay, what problem or pain are you solving right now? As businesses, we don't sell products. Yeah, we sell solutions. We sell things to people that they engage with, that makes them feel good, that solves a problem in their life. What problem are you solving right now, and what problem could you possibly solve? Take this time to look at what you do as a business, what you sell, how you sell it, and think about, okay, well, can I do things differently? What do I want to do? What do I want to sell? What solutions am I really providing? Are there any problems out there that I haven't actually seen that I can change a product to solve? And all of a sudden, you've probably created one or two different revenue streams that you didn't actually otherwise have, purely by looking at things and saying, okay, well, what can I solve today? What products can I do? Or what do I have existing that I can remarket or rejig or redesign to solve another set of problems and bring some value to the audience and to your customers? Okay. Identify the new pains. Okay. The solutions that people wanted 3 months ago, they possibly don't want now, because there's a whole new set of pain that people are associating with. There's financial loss, there's stress of the isolation, there's a whole bunch of different things that people are dealing with. So the pains are very real and very different. So we need to understand our clients from a personal perspective. What are they going through? And how is our business and our product relevant to help solve that problem and make them feel a little bit better? That's our responsibility as businesses, not just to sell product and make money. Longevity, sustainability in a business, and good communication and good marketing means that you have a product or offering that solves people's pain. Look at what the new pain is. Understand what people are going through. Look at yourself and try and understand what you're going through and apply those things. Okay? Again, how can you make existing products new? Lots of companies are doing it. Like I said before, alcohol companies are making sanitizing, bricks and mortar stores that are going online, cafes that are now partnering up with cake stores and co-branding, a whole bunch of different things that, this trauma and pure need has brought out in people. Think laterally, look laterally, and communicate laterally. Okay. The most important thing is, how do you want people to see your business during this time? How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as a business that's just taking advantage of the situation and knowing that you have a product that has a monopoly? Or do you want to be seen as a business that actually is innovative, is caring, is looking at to be an influencer, a leader in the industry, is looking at changing their business to accommodate and help? How do you want to be seen? Have a really good think about that, because that forms the basis of all your communication. When you market yourself, when you put a story out there or an ad or whatever it is, any point of communication, it has to be succinct with who you are as an organization. And we're going to touch on vision and mission and all those kind of things and how it correlates to marketing a little bit later. But really think about, how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be seen? How a business is seen is no different to how you're seen as a person. How do you want to be seen with your friends and your family? What kind of person do you want to be? Think of the business as that. It's an extension of yourself. How do you want this thing to be seen by your colleagues, by your staff, by your customers, everything? And what messaging do you want to put out there for people to see? You're judged very quickly, so make sure that whatever you put out there is authentic and really comes from a place of service. Okay? Really, really important. How do you want to be seen? The story you'll be telling, okay, has a massive effect on answering these questions. If you put out content that is not in direct proportion with who you are and what you're trying to do, it's just a lie. And people see through that stuff. So really have a think about where you want to go, what problems you're solving, or what problems do you want to solve, how do you want to be seen by customers, okay? And set the new tone for a new way of being. The new normal, it's that buzzword that's going around. Really use this time to change your business. It's really exciting to sit back and look at your business and say, okay, well, wow, what do I do next? How do I want to market my business? What kind of content do I want to produce? What kind of stories do I want to tell that make us feel good as an organization, that's adding real value, not just to our staff and our team, but also to our customers and the market in general? And really take this time to think about it, have some fun with it, think huge, and it's your story. So really take advantage of that situation at the moment. So we've covered setting a new tone. When you set a new tone, obviously we've all heard of mission and visions and all that kind of thing. These are really important because they form the basis of your business. Everything you do. It's a roadmap. It's a guide for your business. Every decision needs to be made on the back of setting your tone and also creating the mission and vision on that. So what products you actually sell, the kind of people you employ, the kind of marketing you use, the kind of images, all has to be in line with your mission and vision. And it makes things a lot easier because you start to employ the best people. You start to market the right way. You start to provide the best messaging and products and services because it's in line with who you are as a person and as a business owner. Everything has to be succinct. In your workbooks, we've put a little case study there of Ferrari and what they've done with their mission and vision and how it's actually formed the company to what it is today. And they never, ever digress from that mission and vision, everything they do. Even if there's a multitude of money to be made, they just won't do it because it's not succinct with that. Okay, so whenever you start to market and you start to do things outside of your mission and vision, you start to make mistakes because something's always going to break down if it's not in line with who you are. Okay, so for those of you who have a mission and vision, now's a really good time again to look at it. And is it relevant? Is your mission relevant? Is your vision relevant? You know, your mission, it defines what your business does. Its objectives, its approach. Is it still relevant in today's time? If it isn't, change it. Okay? Set a new tone. Look at what you want to do as a business. Maybe it's a great opportunity to actually change your business dramatically, introduce new product lines. Really think about your mission. What is it you're doing? How is it you're doing it? What are your objectives? Okay. Your vision, it describes the desired future position of your company. Now, looking into the future as a business person is the most amazing thing you can actually do because you can sit back and really use your imagination. So, okay, well, this is what I can do as a business. This is where we're going, how we're going to do it, and this is going to form the basis of everything. This is our legacy. So, and it's massively important because every piece of communication that you create, every piece of marketing, every photo on Instagram, every ad tells that story. Now, if you're telling that story authentically based on those two things, you cannot lose, okay? Authenticity, always bank on authenticity. That's in line with a mission and vision, okay? So in order to get to a mission and vision or some kind of understanding, if you don't have one, if you do have one, you have to answer, you know, what does my business do? What do you do? What is unique about your business, okay? You have to be able to be unique even within competition. The best companies, I mean, how many people sell phones? How many companies sell phones? There's Apple, there's Huawei, there's Samsung. There's a lot of companies, but Apple is Apple. They all sell phones. It's just the different way they do it. They're very, very unique in what they do. In your business, whether you're in design, SEO, tiling, whatever it is, there are other people doing it. What makes your business unique and how are you going to stand out in the crowd? Okay? How are you going to have your content digested and looked at and engaged with in your business? What makes it unique in comparison to everybody else? Here's the key. If you're unique as a business, it almost eliminates competition because you're not actually competing with the same thing. You're doing things differently. That's the beauty of a business, and that's the DNA of the business. It's massively important, and it's a really good thing to understand and really harness because you can sell that and people engage to that, and all of a sudden your uniqueness and your way of doing things starts to engage people with your brand and creates that brand advocacy and that engagement that you want. Okay, and what value do you ultimately want to provide? Not just to your customers, but just to everything. You know, as far as Whittlesea and this area, what kind of things do you want to provide to the community? You know, besides what you sell and your products and services and what you sell, what else do you want to provide the community? What else do you want your business to do as far as an entity? You've got so much power as business people and business owners to change things, to make things better. Use those tools and dig deep and really understand what you want that to be. It's a massively important step because without this, you can't market effectively because you don't have a background story to tell. Every brand, every successful brand, every big business has a very clear understanding of who they are, what they do, and what they want to do in the future. All their marketing and everything is connected to that. And it's a bulletproof system. It's a must, especially for small business because of the amount of competition, the amount of saturation that it has. You've got a really good opportunity to look at how you do it differently and unique and really stand out in a crowd. Okay, so mission and vision, massively, massively important. In your workbooks, there is a section on how to actually help you formulate one and create one. Have some fun with that and take some time. And remember, one of the tips that I always give, when you write it, if an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old can understand it, then you're doing well. Make sure it's clear and concise and understandable. If it's understandable only to you, then it's futile. Make sure that it's understood by everybody. So write it in a way that's just clear and concise. Once you have all these things and you've got your mission and vision and you've decided to pivot and set the tone, all these kind of things, one of the things that people very rarely invest in, which is the most important thing, is great design. Okay. In today's world where everybody's on a screen and everybody's producing content, great design is paramount. It's key. It's the backbone of every marketing initiative. Okay. So the strategy, what you're trying to say has to be conveyed in imagery. Now, if you have this great marketing plan and then you go off and do it yourself on a downloaded piece of software or, on an app or whatever, you can't expect to get that market engagement that you otherwise would get with a really good piece of design by professionals. Okay. It's always put in the expense basket. It's not important. There's apps. A good creative agency or a good creative freelancer will never will always be as good as an app. So don't think that just because your nephew or your niece or your brother-in-law uses Facebook and is good with a phone or Canva, they're qualified to actually create good creative. Always invest in amazing creative. If you have people that do your SEO or all these kind of things, they will always turn around and say, the content has to be key. It has to be produced in a way that is going to cut through. It's going to be produced in a way that really tells the story effectively and can rise up above all the other pieces of content. We see about 5,000 pieces of content a day on average. Why is yours going to stand out? Okay. How is it going to stand out? What's dynamic about it? What's different about it? Okay. There's some examples in the actual book there of a really bad ad and a really good ad. The difference is one is a massive brand and the other one is just going to stay the way it is because people don't look at that stuff. It's hard to read, it's hard to comprehend, and it just looks cheap and nasty. Don't do that to your business. If you love your business and you love what you're doing enough, you will invest in supporting it with really, really great design. Okay? Great content gets attention. It really does. When you see a really nice photo or a really nice ad, how many times have you shared a commercial or something because it's grabbed your attention? Good content, really beautifully designed content gets attention. Bad content does not. It really doesn't. So don't be cheap. Don't do your business a disservice. Really invest in great design. Okay, there's some really good agencies such as ours or freelancers or whatever that are very, very good at what they do, but just make sure you're using someone who actually knows how to really convey a message through imagery and video and do it properly, do your business justice. Okay. 7 keys for great design. Now, these are my 7 keys for using great design. Number 1, it makes a first strong impression with your audience. If you're a trade and you show up to a customer's house and the signage on your van is, all badly designed and illegible and it's coming off and all, that's the impression they're going to get. Now, the way your signage and your design and your marketing looks is the perception people are going to have about your business. If you don't have the pride to actually do some great work with your signage and your ads, what chance have you got of being proud with the workmanship that you're going to provide? That's the judgment you're going to get. So always make the best first impression you possibly can, because you literally have seconds before someone judges you and decides whether they're going to use your services or whether they're not. Okay. Number 2, build strong customer relationships. If someone connects with imagery, if someone connects with your messaging through words, through photos and video, they're going to form a connection. By sharing a video of yours, they've already formed a connection with your business. They sing your jingle, they'll recall the imagery, they'll recall your logo, they'll recall elements of your logo. It starts to form a really good relationship because people understand imagery and video more than what they do words. Okay, that's what they say, image is worth many words. So forms very, very strong relationships straight away, especially the judgment part. If someone looks at your imagery and your piece of work and they feel good about it, it almost immediately forms great rapport and trust in your brand. Great design on digital, especially today, keeps things easy. It keeps your website easy to use, and it correlates back to conversion, sales conversion. If people understand what you're putting out there from a communications point of view, and it's clear, it's concise, and it looks great, people are more likely to take action straight away. Okay, and they will take action if they resonate with it straight away. If you have a piece of content that you designed on a downloaded piece of software, people aren't going to relate to it. It's hard to understand. It's not succinct. There's no, the methodology behind the design, the rules around design aren't there. So the reaction you're going to get from your customers and your audience is just not going to be there. And you're going to be left wondering, well, I spent $2,000 on SEO this month and I got nothing. Well, maybe because people aren't looking at your ad because it's just really bad. So a really well created piece of content accentuates the actual platform itself. Don't be spending a copious amount of money on SEO and all these kind of things if your content doesn't do it justice. Okay, I noticed we have an SEO analyst here that can probably vouch for that. That great content is key to any good SEO or digital marketing strategy. Always use good designers. Great design promotes brand consistency and recognition. The best logos in the world are easily recognizable as a whole and using individual elements. So if your logo is busy, if it changes all the time, if you don't use the same colors, if you don't use the same wording, the same positioning, it's black, it's red, it's everywhere, people aren't going to recognize it. So there's no recall, especially in this time where you're working in a time where you want to position your business in a way where the recall of your brand is strong after this is all said and done. This is especially important. Nobody's going to recall something that is not visually attractive to them, okay, from a brand perspective. Make sure your logos are beautifully designed, they're clear, they're concise, and it tells a story straight away. If people have to look at your brand and your design and try and decipher what it means, then they'll switch off. Your job as a business is to provide the information to your audience that is clear, that is concise, and they can engage and understand with straight away. So really have some pride in who designs your identity, who designs your signage, because it is the first thing that people will see as far as your business, and they will judge you on it. So think about that. Great, this is probably the most important. Good design is key for social media engagement and success. Especially on Insta, where Instagrammers go on there and they look for the best photos. They look for the best imagery. If you've got an image on there purely designed to sell something, people will engage. It just will not work. So social media is about good content. It's rewarded. Okay, great content is rewarded. So if you look at some of the algorithms of some of these sites, posts go missing because the engagement's not there. So they're deemed worthless and discarded. But if you've got content on there that's engaging, that's beautiful, that people are sharing and wanting to share, your rankings and your viewership will go up. Okay, with paid advertising, the same thing. If you're paying a copious amount of money on keywords and Google searches, but your content is rubbish, then it's just futile. So good design, well designed, paid design is paramount for any social media initiative. Whether it's a personal thing, whether it's business, it's key. Social media is about good quality, relevant content. Okay, and ultimately, great design makes you money because it does all those things. So if you want to make money, if you want to sell products, if you want to grow a brand, invest. Put it in the investment column in great design. It will pay dividends, and it's just something else that you don't need to do. Okay, it's as simple as that. Invest in great design, and you will stand out in the crowd tenfold. The other big thing during this pandemic is how do we rally together as a community, as a business, and co-market and co-brand A lot of businesses are suffering as far as cash flow and opportunity. So one of the things you should be looking at is co-branding or co-marketing. Now, what that is when businesses come together and they collaborate and they put all their brands together and put out some marketing initiatives that solves a problem, usually non-competitive businesses. And we've had some examples of that within the Whittlesea area with a machinery company, outdoor powered equipment company called Atmon in South Morang, where they partnered up with 5 other local businesses ranging from electricians through to automotive detailing, spa, to actually create a loyalty program where people who shop within those individual businesses get rewarded for doing so. And what that's actually doing is eliminating the big cost of print advertising, of paid digital, and spreading the cost over the businesses. And they're also collaborating as brands and building each other's brands through their databases, the sharing and exchanging of customer bases. But most importantly, they've come together and created something really unique as far as offering and savings and solutions to the customer base. And because they're all different businesses, but they're services that everybody uses, it works extremely well. It solves issues for the customer. It provides real value in this critical time, but it's also saving them a bunch of time and money because the cost associated with creating the ads, creating the digital content, the strategies is spread over 5 or 6 businesses as opposed to the one. So really look at your community. Who can you partner up with? If you're a photographer, can you partner up with a digital agency? Can you partner up with an SEO company? Can a tiler partner up with a concreter? There's so many different examples that we've actually put in that workbook of yours to actually look at. Think of what your business does and don't be afraid to collaborate with other businesses. A lot of businesses don't want to do that because they're afraid they're going to lose market share and all these things. It's not the time to do that. Co-branding and co-marketing has been around forever and it works. You'll find some of the biggest brands in the world co-market and co-brand because they understand the power of coming together and doubling the resources and doubling the effort. Okay, if you've got 2 businesses with 1,000 people on a database, all of a sudden you have access to 2,000 people as opposed to your one. So think about the reach, think about the offering, think about the costs and who you can actually add value to as a business as well. Don't make it about yourself. Make sure that whoever you partner up with, you can add immense value to them as well as a business. It's got to be sustainable and reciprocated because otherwise it just won't work. So again, the benefits, shared databases and customers, the cost is spread across the businesses. You can create a repeat business scenario. Okay, if you've got 5 or 6 businesses that Admon did with all the different businesses, you're actually keeping your customers within your circle. They'll come back to each one of those businesses because the benefits are there. So you actually can start to really create a closed market for yourself, which is fantastic and really important in this time. Okay, and there's enough of the pie to go around. So don't think that you're going to lose out because if you do something like this, you're actually expanding the pie so the actual piece is bigger and for less money. So really think about what you can actually do in that respect. Okay, so what you can do straight away in that book, think of 5 ways you can actually collaborate with a business in your area. Think about what you do, your products or services, what is complementary. And it may not even be complementary. It may be where if whoever buys your product also buys flowers, also buys tiles, whatever the case may be. Look at it and think, okay, well, who have I got relationships with? Who do I want to form relationships with? And how is it going to work? There's really a lot of power in that unified co-marketing and co-branding space. So think of 5 ways you can actually collaborate with 5 businesses in your area and don't be afraid to make contact. Everybody is open to certain things now. You ring your local business and make an offer of, look, this is what I was thinking. Everybody is receptive to actually growing and expanding and making the business more sustainable, especially during this time. Massively important to be rallying together and create a really good sustainable offering and solution to the customer as well. And it's very, very good for the local community. I think local communities need to work a lot more together because it's good for business, it's good for the community, it's good for the economy, and it's good at spreading costs. And it's just a really fun thing to do as well because you're discovering all the different businesses in your area that you otherwise didn't even know they were complementary. So 5 ways you can actually collaborate with another business in your area. So, social media. So you've done your mission and vision, you're collaborating, you're doing all these kind of things. Now it's, okay, well, it's 2020. I've got to be on social media. And if you're not, get on it because you have to be. If you're not on social media, you're nowhere. It's like screaming in a rainforest. No one's going to hear you. So the biggest thing about social media is which one do you use? That's the biggest issue. So everybody goes off and does everything. Some platforms are for certain things. Now, you don't have to be on all of them because some of them just won't work. Okay, and there are ways to actually identify which platforms will work for you. Okay, 3 things to consider when you're looking at a platform. Are you a business-to-consumer business? Are you a business-to-business type of entity? Which one are you? Are you both? That has a major impact on which platform you use. What's your target audience? What's the age? What's the demographic? What's the social economic standing? What do they do? Who is your target audience and where are they? What's your overall goal? What do you want to do? Do you want to grow your brand? Do you want to tap into another target market? Are you launching a new product? What's your overall goal that you want to achieve? Because that will determine which platform you actually use. Because some will make those things successful, others are totally irrelevant. Knowing the answers to these things will narrow it down to 2 or 3 platforms. Okay, you don't have to be on any more than 3 platforms unless you have a team that can actually sustainably manage those platforms. If you're on 5 or 6 platforms and you're not managing them properly, you may as well not be on them. Or if you want to use a digital agency or a creative agency such as ours or somebody else that can manage it for you. Otherwise, pick 2 or 3 of the best ones and manage those first and really get those cranking. So there are rules as far as social media. It's not a case of putting a Facebook page image up there and expecting the whole world to set on fire. It's not. It's about consistency. 2 to 3 posts a week, if that's all you can manage, is fine to start with. If you can do up to 5, even better. But make sure the posts are designed well. Okay, use great design, especially if you're using Instagram. Use really good photos. Use relevant content. Okay. And make sure it's in line with your brand, okay? The content has to be engaging. It has to be entertaining. Otherwise, people are just... Think of the way you use your Facebook or your Instagram. It's just the things you like, you look at, the rest you just swipe up. Especially with Instagram, it's almost like Facebook, just without all the crappy stuff that you don't like. So think of it that way when you're looking at your social media. Make sure the content is designed to engage, not just to be placed up there. And be careful on how you actually do it. If you go on Instagram and you start putting on sales ads and things like that, that's not what the platform is. So create your content based on the platform, who's on it, who your target market is, and create things that are worthy of actually sharing. And create a good strategy around it. If you don't know how to create a good digital strategy, speak to someone that can help you with that, because the actual digital strategy and the tactics behind it are very, very important. It's very important on how your money is spent. It's important on your return on investment. It's important on a lot of things, and ultimately the success and the return on investment for your business as well. So really engage. If it's over your head, engage someone that in your community that knows exactly what they're doing as far as strategy and tactics, and they can help you along as well. Which brings us to your website. It's amazing how many local businesses just don't have a website. If the statistics are ridiculous. It's the first place people go to judge you. If someone's looking for a particular product, the first place they go is Google, social media, and your website. Now, if you're not on any of them, you don't exist. You've lost a sale, and you've lost a really good opportunity to gain a customer and remarket. Your website has to be up to scratch. Okay, so it's a really good time again to look at your website. How old is it? Is it up to scratch? Is your website optimized for mobile? Okay, most people do not work off a desktop computer anymore. It's either an iPad or most likely phone. So your website is optimized mobile, otherwise it just won't cut it. People do not want to spend time doing things they shouldn't be doing So if your website is optimized and works well, they're the first place people are going to go. And it's just very good practice for 2020. So get your website out of the 90s and bring it into 2020. Make sure it's optimized for mobile. Again, a good design agency can help you out with that as well. CMS, does it have a content management system? Is it easy to update? Does it link and integrate with your social media? Do you incorporate video and audio in your site? Very important. And do you have a sign-up form for newsletters and things like that? How do you actually create a database out of your website and make sure that you have all these tools in place? Okay, so very, very important. Again, design your website as a tool. It's a sales tool. Your social media, all your marketing, they're sales tools. Design them in a way and invest in a good company that can actually do things for you, so you actually get the return on investment that you want. People are online. People are doing looking online first. Make sure that everything you do is done in a way where people can actually connect straight away. Okay, so I've covered a lot of things in 45 minutes. I hope that I was as broad as I could possibly be. Obviously, there's so much more that we can go into as far as the little details and bits and pieces, but I just wanted to give you a really good understanding of things that you can actually take away and apply straight away. And and also things that you can do without much money. I would really urge you to go through that workbook, take some time and work through it, and really use those questions to get an understanding of where your business is at, where it's going, and really reach out to your other local businesses and see how you can actually rally together to market yourselves and add some real value and create some market share as a unit. It's very good for the community. It's very good for local business, and it just ensures that everybody is getting an equal slice of the pie and everyone is surviving and thriving. So again, thank you for spending 45 minutes with me. I'm open to some questions, and also if you want to reach out, there's some details on the workbooks. I'm more than happy to take phone calls and have a bit of a chat with anyone who wants some help. And I'm more than happy to do that for you guys out there. And I'll be doing a lot more of these webinars and just really narrowing down on more detail. So stay connected and we'll go to some questions. We have a question from Linda out there. She says, thanks so much for emphasizing the need for great images. As a photographer, I always explain the benefit for a great professional images over phone snaps edited with an app. How can I do more to market this to local businesses? Okay, I suppose it's an education thing, Linda. I think there's so much talk about you can just download an app and do it, losing sight of the importance of content and how it's digested. With your clients, I suggest you look at statistics on the uptake of something that you've done as far as a professional photographer, and the uptake on content that's self-generated. Okay, I think you need to, as companies like ours, digital photographers, digital artists, creative agencies, we need to educate the businesses on how to spend their money as far as content. I suggest case studies, I suggest webinars, videos, things that people can really digest and understand straight away. And I suppose what I was doing in the earlier piece, I was actually doing some work as case studies to prove the theory, especially now where people don't have that much money to spend on these type of things. You can actually create a lot of interest in what you do just by showing them the difference between how you go about your business and how you provide content as opposed to self-generated. So I hope that's answered your question there. So we've run out of time. Again, thank you so much for spending 45 minutes with me, and reach out if you wish to ask questions, talk about certain things. My details are on the back of that worksheet. Spend some time and really stay safe and rally together and spend some time with your business. And again, thanks so much.